Don't matter. Either one.
Welcome, everybody, to this Thursday, this wonderful Thursday, episode 307 of Altadena Talks. And today is the Toni Talk segment. I am Jamal Smith, and I'm here with...
I'm Toni Bailey Rains. Hi, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Friday Junior. Happy Friday Junior.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Junior. Oh, hold on. Let me turn down my sound. As I just turned it on, and it's like, oh, I'm seeing and hearing everything I'm doing. So today was supposed to be my mother coming on, and she called me this morning and said, I'm not going to be able to come on today. Something. I said, okay, no problem. And she said, it's just a lot going on. So I didn't even need an explanation because it might just be too soon or whatever, right? And I had to respect that. It was just to be like, how are you doing? You know, tell me how you're feeling a year, 14 months out, whatever. But if it's too soon, it's too soon. So no issue there. So today we're just going to go over and have we're going to talk about more of the news that's out there. For Altadena, whether it be from the town council or whether it be from the water companies or whether it be from Catherine Barger's office. A lot of people have seen, I know I posted or reposted on my Facebook the $5 million money that they're, $200,000. I think that will cover 25 families.
I didn't see that particular number, but it sounds about right.
Because $5 million is not a lot of money
so far. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, $5 million is not a whole lot. So, but what's crazy is the next day she posted $28 million that's been allocated for parks, outdoor spaces. And I'm like, it's probably more important to bring people home. But regardless, whatever. I'm thankful that they have it. And this is for basically not mortgage stuff, but like down payment assistance and all that, because there are people that want to be able to buy. A lot of them are renters that want to live in Altadena. But either way, Isis Molden, who's a council member on town council, Jamal pulled up her IG because Isis always puts stuff up in these cute little boxes or whatever.
I'll bring it up in a quick second.
Yeah. And so we're going to go over just what she posts because she kind of summarizes and condenses it on her stories. And so we're going to do that.
Sorry, I'm just trying to add this one slide real quick. All right, cool. That's there. Now I can upload that. And then we will add to the stage. So what do you want to start with? The Board of Supervisors?
Yes.
All right, cool.
That works. All right, so probably everybody saw this on the 17th, or I believe it come out on the 17th, 16th, probably the 17th, that the LA County Board of Supervisors, which Catherine Barger is our supervisor for our district, they had agenda item 25, and they accepted $4,999,675 in the state CalHome program funds to provide. So if you don't know what the state CalHome program is, it's been helping a lot of people with paying the mortgage and, all this since they've been displaced since the fires. But there's another program that gives up to $150,000 for first-time home buyers. So there's money allocated for people, but this particular one gave to LA County basically $5 million. I think it's $325 away from $5 million. in this state CalHome program. Huh?
It might as well be 5 million.
Right, I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they went on and gave them that money. The state did, and the county accepted it to provide down payment assistance to households impacted by the 2025 wildfires. So, what the CalHome program technically does, and I'm just going to read this real quick, is provides grants to local public agencies and nonprofit corporations for first-time homebuyer and housing rehabilitation assistance, homebuyer counseling, and technical assistance activities to enable low and very low-income households to become or remain homeowners. So, again, there are a lot of people that were renters or, lived in a home that was passed down or whatever in Altadena that it was devastated by the fire. And so a lot of people want to remain and didn't even own their lots. They were renting, but the landlords are like, hey, I'll sell it to you, blah, 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 blah. So this program is very beneficial for those people because you can apply and get up to $200,000 per household or 40% of the purchase price. So probably whichever is higher. If the 200,000 is higher, lower. But the target is for wildfire displaced households, including Altadena and the Eaton fire, obviously. And because it's the county, that will also include the Palisades people, Malibu, Hollywood Hills, somebody that was there. So this is not just for Altadena, but if you want to participate, keep in on this ASAP, because trust me, people in other areas are definitely going to apply. So what it actually really means for us is that it's the first for LA County in a structured renter to homeowner recovery pathway tied to the fire. So again, many renters that want to be in Altadena still, but they want to be able to purchase. Altadena has a higher renter population pre-fire than all the other areas. And then most recovery programs focus on homeowners rebuilding. This one is addressing displaced renters. So I know quite a few, and I'm going to call a couple of them today and say, hey, are you guys aware? And make sure you apply. Because I do know at least 3 sets of people that lost their homes and that they were renting, and they'd really like to be able to come back out to and buy, which means if they have $200,000 to put down towards a lot, and then they get a construction loan, they can be homeowners in Altadena.
Yeah, it could be very helpful for them.
Or if there's a home that is within their budget, but they need that 200 down or that 40% of the purchase price, they can apply and hopefully get it. And then there's agenda item 42, which is the emergency authority continuation. So the board confirmed that the January 25 fire, including Eaton, still legally constitute an emergency and extended emergency contracting authority. And it allows the county to bypass normal bidding rules, fast track contracts, continue debris removal, and infrastructure rebuild. And so it will, what it actually does again, it will, oh no, that's the same thing I just read. It's just on there double. Sorry.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, sorry.
She put it double. It's okay. And then the price gouging, the agenda item 22 was the price gouging protections. That has been extended. And this directly impacts residents and displaced residents because rent has gone up everywhere in the county. And when you are saying, hey, I just lost everything I own my whole life, my home, blah, 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 then landlords are like, oh, you're impacted by the fire. Let me raise this rent above what it normally was or whatever. Or when they have empty, especially right after the fire, when they had empty houses or apartments, some were double. I remember people saying they're telling me I got to do $7,000 or $8,000 to rent, and they want first and last, And so any of them that were proven to have been gouging, I think it was the state attorney general took them to court and sued them. So that's
Good.
a good thing because we don't want that. So this agenda item extended the anti-price gouging protections specifically for rentals or short-term housing, which includes things like Airbnbs, hotels, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Why it matters for Altadena or Altadenians is because, again, they spiked across the region. Displaced residents are competing in a very tight market. I saw something on Ring or Nextdoor earlier this week, and they were advertising a studio for $1,900. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's kind of common though. They've been like that for a while.
That's not the rent, but it's so ridiculous. It's not even one big room, and you got your bedroom tucked over here. You got a kitchen, all that, and you want $1,900. Like, I think, Jamal, what needs to happen is, especially when you're a landlord and you own a property or a home, own it outright. Not that you have a mortgage payment. You only have, your property taxes. Why are you renting something ridiculously to people? Stop it. Come down and don't say market rate. Where is humanity, compassion in your heart? If I own something outright, I'm not renting it for those kind of prices. That's ridiculous. So anyway, I was just like, that's shameful. A studio, not even a one bedroom, but a studio, $1,900.
No, I get you. It's crazy. And I mean, it's no wonder that people are struggling.
Absolutely. And so it matters because of that, what we just said, right? Competing in a tight market, but a tight market is stupidity when it comes to some prices. And so the action of this item is that it limits extreme rent increases, like we spoke about, the $7,000 or whatever, but also adjust allowable rent ceilings upwards in some cases.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see why anybody would need a rent ceiling adjusted upwards at all. That's just crazy. Anyway, then there's this one, which is odd to me, which is item 57. Local Altadena infrastructure and neighborhood impact, street sweeping and parking restrictions. It applies to in 4610, track 4610, Stonehurst Drive, Alberta Street, Crosby Street, Hanning, Casitas, El Sol, Spalding Place. And they're supposed to be putting, she said at the town council meeting the other day, some signage up saying people cannot park. And I don't know if I'm assuming it's just for street sweeping, but there are people literally, another guy spoke and he's not even from over there. He's on the east side. And he's like, we now have a riff in our neighborhood because we're right there across from where it started, like where Coolidge and Little New York and all that is, Altadena Drive, Coolidge, all that. He's somewhere in that area. And he said that neighbors are arguing and fighting because one person is like, we need the street sweeper to come on our street. And other people are like, for what? People aren't back. People are recovering. People are still remediating because that area, a lot of houses didn't burn. Some did, but some didn't. And then a lot got heavy smoke damage. And so they're like, this man was like, why? Again, go to the town council meeting from the other night and look at public comments towards the end at about 2 hours. And he spoke before me, but he was like, it's a riff and it's stupid. And you're saying we got to have mandatory street sweeping and this and that. What sense does it make to have street sweeping in Altadena right now? Because that's a county resource that those funds could be allocated somewhere else, or send those street sweepers to other areas of the county that aren't incorporated and clean those streets. There's no reason to street sweep in Altadena right now. And then to have, maybe if we have a big windstorm like we did a couple weeks ago, send them back out in, right? Send public works out to make sure if any tree leaves or palm branches or whatever have fallen, those are picked up, and then do street sweeping. But weekly street sweeping?
Or maybe in areas where there's actual construction happening too, like some of those blocks where there's, when homes are being worked on, but they usually have fences.
But no, well, yeah, and they're not, that's where they shouldn't street sweep. Because those people that are doing construction, they're required to have the water on so that they can hose down stuff. If you're starting to grade or you're in construction, you're supposed to hose down the dirts and all of that. So street sweeping, Everybody knows. Have you ever gone behind a street sweeper or looked at one? All they do is dust up the dirt. They go in, it's a little bit of water, but they kick up all the dirt and stuff.
Yeah, they don't pick up a lot.
It's so incredibly crazy to me that people are literally like, oh, arguing about street sweeping in a town that 90% of the houses are gone. Like, let them come back first. And if they have to have water on their lots and they have to hose it down, maybe that is something that, you as a homeowner can say, hey, make sure you're hosing down in front of my property. Don't have lots of dirt, mud, whatever, right? And that to me is the homeowner's responsibility to tell their builder, keep this area clean, as clean as possible, right? But to be arguing about street sweepers or the county saying we're going to sweep on these streets and we're going to give you tickets if you are parked for street sweeping. Why? You're right, Marcus. Last of Altadena's worry. Street sweeping? I mean, that is so stupid and a waste of money and time to me. I have to do woosah because you guys know I'm super passionate and I will get way up here. So I said my piece. And then Tatras says, hello, Talk Masters. Thank you for all the information you share. Much appreciated. Question. Do you have any information that includes Pasadena fire? We don't, unless somebody sends it to us, Tatras. I know you live in Pasadena, just below, that border, that Woodbury border. But unless someone specifically says, hey, can you get us this or something like that, we just normally don't get information from or on Pasadena. Most of the stuff we get is Altadena, right? Our council members, other people in the community may reach out and send. I get texts and stuff all the time. We're subscribed, like Jamal subscribed to a lot of the county information. And then obviously our town council meeting, because I go, it's second Tuesday of the month, second or third? Yeah, second. And then Isis Molden is a council member in 4610. And so she will post that on her IG. She has a council member, I Molden, Instagram, so that
that's her handle. That's what we're using thus far today. We're going to use a few of her posts to kind of for topics today too. But yeah, if you have anything for Pasadena that you hear of or that you'd like to have us share, please send it to us.
Yeah, and even I don't follow Pasadena or the city hall. Let me see. I'm gonna just fire recovery. I'm just going to put Pasadena fire recovery information. I'm Googling it to see if there's anything out there. It just talks about, this is somebody home, Protea's home, LA fire rebuilding, Edelson, that's an attorney, LA County. So you know what? LA County recovers. It says if you've been impacted, call follow option 2, but it says Pasadena fire recovery information instead of Eaton Fire. There's a link. The city of Pasadena and surrounding communities are experiencing. Okay, the assist Pasadena residents finding help, support they need. Updates will be becoming. Okay, so city of Pasadena. There is one that says Eaton Fire updates -City of Pasadena, and it goes to cityofpasadena.net. I'm gonna put it in the private chat, Jamal, and you can take a look at it there and pull it up if you want. But it's www.cityofpasadena.net /Eaton Fire /returning home facts FAQS. So there is something that the Pasadena city, Tatras, has available for all of you that live in Pasadena. And it just says Eaton Fire Recovery. So there's one that says, Eaton Fire news releases. Looks like the last one was February 2nd, and it has to do with rental housing inspections. But there's a lot on there about returning home safely, phase 2, debris removal, financial assistance. And there are links to things like the CalHFA Mortgage Fund, FEMA, SBA, Temporary Tenant Protection Ordinance, Disaster Unemployment Assistance. So health and safety, all of that, and then resources. So that page, it says what you can do, visit survivor support locations, which is really the stuff that the county already has on your rebuild permits. But there is a page that the city of Pasadena has up with lots of links, which a lot of them go right back to what LA County has, because even though Pasadena is its own city, it's still within LA County. And the information that LA County has out there is what all the cities under the county are going to follow anyway. Because if you know anything about hierarchy, just like we talked about with CalFire, and people are like, well, why is CalFire saying got to do this, got to do that? CalFire is the designated entity for the state that regulates the regulations around fire. That was crazy the way I brought that out. But they make all the regulations for fire safety, for your yards, for zone 0, all this stuff. And then the state approves it, and boom, that's it, right? That's the governance and the guidance. Counties then, what is there, 56 counties in California, or 52 or whatever, but all of the counties within California can then take that guidance and say, okay, that's at a minimum, they have to do this. They can expound on it and do more. And then when there are things like state emergencies that are declared that, or federal declared disasters, they can then bend the rules a little and have some flexibility and make some changes and exempt this part of that guidance or this part, but this they cannot. So with Pasadena being in the county, like our county, LA County is in the state of California, right? There's that hierarchy that they have to abide by certain things. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works and how things just trickle down. But there is a City of Pasadena, just go on there and look for Eaton Fire Recovery. And you definitely have that information that's specific to the city. However, most of it has to do with the county. So I would just venture to say, Tatris, that everything that we're putting out or giving information about for the county also applies to the city. I don't see any city-specific programs. The only thing that I do see that says Pasadena starts with is Pasadena Fire Hazard Severity Zones. Because again, they're within the county, but they're their own established chartered city. And they have their own city government. So they have their own fire department. So they have Pasadena Fire Hazard Severity Zones that I do see. And so, but just scroll through that City of Pasadena Eaton Fire Recovery site and take a look at anything, because when it does say resources, it says LA County Emergency website. See, yeah. There is one thing that says Pasadena Small Business Development Center that has to do specific with Pasadena. But he went to that link, go back, where I had said it's on there and it says fire severity zones. And who's big right there do you see to the left? CalFire, right? So CalFire determines everything statewide. Counties can change some things, but not these zones. And they can have leeway to do things. But where we've been looking at all the Altadena ones and been focused on Altadena, this is the first time we've brought this up. We're now over by Devil's Gate, and that's down by the Rose Bowl, between La Cañada. But that part of Pasadena, all that in the red is primarily down, I believe, in the Seco, Arroyo Seco, and down by the Rose Bowl. So, and then over on the other side is Sierra Madre. That's the Hastings Ranch area of Pasadena. That is also a fire hazard severity zone. So if you're not in there, and I don't think you are, you're on Glen, if I'm not mistaken, Tatris, then that does not affect you where you are. But hi, Jackie Bailey. My mama's watching, y'all. So that's that. But yeah, so anything other than that, Tatris, what we get on here generally is going to be from the county. Sometimes they'll email me like, hey, Toni, Mika will say, we're doing this up at Loma Alta Park, or she'll send me something that is happening at all the parks throughout the county and say, here's the flyer for Loma Alta, but here's the flyer for all these other ones too, Arcadia, anything that's a county park, because they know people are displaced all throughout the county and they want to make sure that people know. And so Mika will send it directly to me. I'll send it to Jamal. And sometimes he's like, good, thank you, but I already have it, because he subscribes to some of the county emails and websites and things like that, so that we can get Look, Jamal may not do the majority of the talking on this show. It's mainly me and then Brian, but Jamal is major back end running the show from behind. And besides that, he does talk through the announcements, but Jamal has to make sure that those announcements are ready. That's the slideshow. The presentation part is ready. That's a lot of work. And he has to make sure he has all the announcements. So whether they come from me or he goes and scours because he gets notifications, he pulls them through. So big kudos and thanks to Jamal, because he is truly the bro in the background handling all of that while I'm running my yap for you guys.
We all have our roles, right?
We do all have our roles. So yeah. So for you, Tatra, specifically on Glenn, you're not in a fire severity zone, which might be really good for you as well when it comes to your insurance, because whichever builder you decide to go with, if you haven't already, or if you have, whoever you're building with, I'm sure will make sure that your home is hardened. And we've talked about this before, the Fortified Home, IBHS. California, based on what CAL FIRE has already put out, what California's bare minimum is higher than the IBHS standards for a fortified home. So as everybody rebuilds, and you guys know I have checked into this like seriously over this last year, because once I found out about IBHS, I started researching. I was like, well, what is this and what is that? And what a fortified home is. And when I went up to Sonoma in September for that conference with After the Fire, I learned about the Fortified Home certification. It is a 3-year certificate that you can pay for. So when you get your certificate of occupancy, you can then give that to your insurance company and say, I'm a fortified home. And that will help lower your insurance, because we had a lady that was from the Paradise Fire that was there. And she said before she got her certification, her home was rebuilt and her insurance went up to $10,000 a year. That's mind-boggling, right? And I think it was $1,500 before, or maybe $2,000, whatever it was. She went and applied, and they came and they were like, oh yeah, this is a fortified home because it was built in California. Your guys' standards are higher than what ours are for the rest of the country. Nice. She got her certification. There is a cost, and it's good for 3 years. And her once she got that certification, she gave it to her insurance. Her insurance went right back down to what it was before the fire, and lost her home. Right. Yeah. So there are different ones. If you want to click on there's the gold. I think there's a standard, a gold, a platinum, or whatever. But we can see what they are. There's the roof, the gold, and the silver. Yeah. So fortified home roof is just that your roof has been redone, and it's stronger edges. There's a sealed roof deck. It's attached better because of these, things that they do, the ring shank nails, all this stuff, and the enhanced pattern, all of that. That will give you a fortified roof. Most people in California don't apply for this certification because we don't live where there's tornadoes and hurricanes. And specifically, like, I called this fortified home people and I talked to them and I said, well, what's the difference? And they said, that's for people along the Gulf Coast, Florida, places that there are hurricanes, and then places that there are tornadoes. Because again, you want your insurance provider to cover you, right? And not drop you. And so the fortified home roof, or the fortified roof, is primarily sold to clients, that certification, and they do that to clients in those locations. And so, hold on. I think Jamal stepped away for a quick second, so I'm going to bring it up.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So
I'm just not saying anything, so I just took myself out.
Oh, no problem. So the fortified silver is, obviously you have the roof that's on there because it's braced for the storm, but then there are also stronger garage doors so that the winds and the pressure doesn't enter your home and disturb things, right? So that's it's all the requirements, or the silver includes all the requirements of the roof, but then it includes that enhanced nailing, sealed deck roof, lockdown edges, all this additional stuff for silver, right? And then there is fortified gold. And you know what, Jamal, can you just scroll? Don't go there. Go back. And just scroll down, because then they're all there and we could kind of show. Keep going. Yeah, right there. So the national standard is on the left, right? And if you want a fortified home, you either do the roof, the silver, or the gold. Well, again, I talked to them. I did some research. What CalFire has put out for home hardening and all this stuff, and what our standards for building are, because we have earthquakes in California and all of this, right? Our basic standards here in California are higher than fortified gold. So anybody right now that's rebuilding a home and you're getting our standard plus all the home hardening, the zone 0 and all of that, you will be able to go to the fortified home people and request this certification. I know that the state is working with insurance carriers, and to me, it does not make sense that if our standards are already higher than even the gold for fortified home, that when you get your certificate of occupancy, the insurance carrier should say, this house is already above this standard. And so, or fortified gold. So we know we don't have to adjust or increase your insurance rates. But we all know it's all a game, right? And it's all about money. So if you want that extra, you can apply for this fortified home certification. And when your house is complete and you present that certificate to your insurance company, and your rates should not skyrocket, or they shouldn't be trying to drop you. To me, common sense, even if I'm a CEO of an insurance company, would say all these homes burnt to the ground. Now they're rebuilding. We know California standards are higher. There is no reason for us not to insure people, because guess what? They're going to be paying us monthly, and these houses aren't going to have a earthquake damage because they're brand new and they're higher than earthquake standards, right? They're not going to have burn down from fire. They're not going to have tornado strength winds take them off the foundation. And if there's a flood, they're not going to fly away. I mean, granted, or wash away. Granted, there are some areas that there are flash flooding and things could happen, but I'm specifically talking about Altadena. Any insurer who had somebody before, I would be trying to come right back to Altadena. Like, oh, those houses are going to be good for the next 100 years. Let me rush in to offer them insurance. That's what my brain says, logically, but I don't work in insurance, y'all. So, anywho, back to this fortified home. Again, not Altadena standards. California standards are higher than even the fortified gold. And I did my research online with IBHS, with this program, and then I called Fortified Home. And then Allison, who's been on the show a few times, she knows a lot about IBHS, so we've had lots of conversations. Sorry. And so, yeah, it's a higher standard here in California already. Also, Allison just got approval and broke ground last week, I believe, on Cindy Lopez's address on, what's that street that goes behind Maiden Lane, behind Elliott? She's like Maiden Lane and Mendocino area, just south. But she is the first, what is that, concrete? Yeah, the first concrete home that's built with, you know, the machines, not the blocks, but a full concrete home where it'll be spitting out through she finally got the county to approve everything. And so they're breaking ground and starting all the foundation work and stuff very soon. And that home will be, the foundation should be done in about 4 hours, and the home should be up. It could be put together or 3D. Thank you, Lord. 3D printed. I was trying to think, not just concrete. 3D printed home. It takes a day for it to print out the home, to spit it out. So I can't wait until Allison says, hey, Toni, we're starting. Even if it's on the foundation, I really want to go and get some good footage of that, because I think that's going to be amazing to see. So
I agree.
That's
I think
Allison.
that'll be really, really cool. Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a common building method. So it'll be cool to see that one and see if more people start utilizing that.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
technology.
When she does it, I'm going to ask her if we can come and film live on the show or whatever, because I don't even care if it's on a weekend, whatever, because literally the 3D printer and everything she showed me. Allison is such a visionary, and Allison has been trying to like pull me in on a lot of stuff. And last time I was on a on a conference call with her, you know, we went out and we talked about that new fire suppression system instead of having sprinklers, but to have the sonic fire, right? I'm an impatient person, y'all. And so Allison is good with policy and getting in front of people to say, look, we need this, because honesty is you're talking about building 6,000 homes, then plus, you know, 3,800 more structures, whether it's schools, churches, businesses, or whatever, back in Altadena. But the water company's infrastructure is not fit. It's not suitable. So if you're telling everybody they have to have sprinklers in their houses, but you can't even get the water up there for whatever reason, it does not make sense. So if no logic, if you have the sonic fire technology, which in 10 seconds, the sonic waves like that and put out the fire, which we were live that day and I was amazed. Remember, I was doing like this in the tree and I could only a little bit that burned on the inside. It was just incredible. But so she's like, we're on these calls because she wants to talk to the governor's office and CalFire. So I talked to my brother, sent him the link. He was like, oh, I'm going up to see the chief. They have this quarterly meeting or whatever. I'll talk to him. So he did. And I asked him, I said, what'd the chief say? He said, yeah, he likes it. When y'all are ready, like bring it to him, you know, type thing. I'm like, okay. So Allison's good at that. I'm not, because I want stuff right now. Right. And so I told her on the last call, and I know she was like, I want to punch you, Toni. She didn't say that, but she probably did. Because one day I basically had to tell her, I'm going to need you to chill. I need you to cool out. Because Allison is like, I'm bringing all this amazing technology, but somebody didn't give her the credit for it. And I was like, are you bringing it because you want credit, or are you bringing it really for the community?
Because it's needed. Yeah.
Right. I said, because if it's about you, like, I'm good, Allison. You go on and do your thing. If it's all about our community, let's talk that it's about the community. And she's like, but they did it, and they didn't. And I literally was like, shut up, Allison. Like, we were on the phone, and I had to really get on her. And then she was like, oh, okay, I'm good. Thank you. I needed that. She needed me to be like, I'm going to, you know. But I had to tell her in this one call, I said, check this out. I said, quit bringing me on calls if this is not ready now. Because you're talking about in 6 months. I want to be able to talk about it after we've been on this call to our audience and say, hey, y'all, this is ready. If you want this in your build instead of sprinklers, because you're like, hey, Toni, who is it at the county that I need to reach? I know you're in a meeting and you got this name. And I'm like, okay, let me call and get that name. Gave her the name, all this stuff. I don't have the tolerance or patience to do that part behind the scenes, right? She does. And she's great with that. I don't. Now, when the technology is here, am I going to say Allison did this? Absolutely. Because it don't have nothing to do with us. This is who? Allison of PBI Builders, right? But we have this relationship that sometimes I want to smack her. Sometimes she wants to smack me, but it's all love. So it's all good. But Allison's amazing. She went to the county constantly. If she has to be in somebody's face or at your door every day, she will do it. And she finally got the 3D printing approved. So she got the permit, I think a week and a half ago for the first one. And she's going to be starting soon. And I plan on being there, and I'm super happy about it.
So since you brought it up, is there any word on the sonic technology being approved? And if so, will she be able to implement it in her home? And if not hers, then these folks that are actually going to be, it's going to be influx of people who are building this year. It sounds like it might be ready for them. For those who are interested.
So in March, April, maybe the end of this month, they were revising the backpack, because when we did the show, the backpack's like 25 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. Granted, you do like this, 20 seconds, fires out. But when you talk about firefighters going out with having to put a backpack on, and eventually maybe replacing hoses on fire trucks for water with this system, that as they're rolling up to the fire, these sonic waves are putting the fire out, right? And they all come up with their fire truck. That's years down the road probably, but it has to start somewhere. So I think this month they're supposed to have, by the end of this month, I believe, they're supposed to have the newer, smaller backpacks out that will weigh 10 or 15 pounds. And they, I think, are going to also have a little bit of a longer range for the sonic waves. But they were working on that.
That'd be huge for the firefighters because their packs, I mean, the stuff they wear is already heavy.
Right. Yeah. So they were really doing that because they want to get it out to the fire departments, because a lot of what happens with these. Hello?
Hi.
How can I help you?
Antoinette.
Who's this?
This is Kurt. I'm actually just a bill representing Figure Lending. They're just trying to make contact with you.
Okay, can you leave that?
I'll leave the letter right out the door here.
Thanks. Okay.
You have a good day.
Thanks. So anyway, somebody leaving some mail.
Right. Don't you
it
love
was
live broadcasts?
I know, right? And my door's open and the screen is closed. Anyway, so what happened was the backpacks, when they go out, like I said, the packs are heavy, but when it comes to like unhoused, a lot of the fires happen in the unhoused areas because of staying warm in winter, or like when I lived in the Zeus Canyon, they're fighting and they're like, I'm going to burn you out, things like that. Well, if they could go and not use up a resource like water, but have these packs on and put it out a lot faster, then it won't necessarily spread to the mountains or whatever. So they're really trying to get the packs out there first to the fire departments, but at the same time, get approval with the county for all of it. So then they could start looking at putting it in houses. And then my understanding is they have to have a commitment from 5,000 homeowners that they would put this in their house instead of sprinklers. And then it could be manufactured pretty rapidly.
Yeah, mass produced. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so they have to
really
have,
good.
and it doesn't have to just be people who are rebuilding, but if you have a home, like you have a home, I have a home, I don't have sprinklers in my home, right? But I could do the system. It's about $25K, I believe, and get it. And it's all on the outside, and the coverage area goes about 30 feet out or whatever. So even your neighbors, if they had fire, it could help with that. But it's so that it's anybody. So if they get like over time or over a little bit, 5,000 orders of people who want this on their home, whether they're rebuilding or have a standing home, that's beneficial. That would also, I assume, because I know they're working with insurance companies, really reduce rates also when it comes to fire stuff.
Absolutely.
So if it's on the outside, you can have it. If it's on the inside, you can have it. Because even if you have a kitchen fire and you have it on the inside, they are also talking about doing this with extinguishers, like the portable ones you would have in your home or your car, which I think would be perfect, because I know I've got them for the kitchen, right? But those you have to like open a certain way. You've got to, every couple of years you got to check them, and if they're no good, you throw them away and you buy new ones or whatever. But if you could have this, this is a game changer. So I believe later this month for the smaller packs, and I will follow up with Alice on and get some information, or have her come on and give an update on all that stuff too.
That's beautiful. And the thing I like probably the most about it is the amount of water damage that will be reduced. Yes. If you think about in the example you gave, let's just say it's in the unhoused area or even just a small fire. It's one that actually I saw on the TV a couple of weeks ago. This dude barricaded himself in a house, and the cops, they put in tear gas, but it was the wet tear gas, which caused the fire. And what did they do? They ended up bringing the hoses and hose down the entire place. Now it's a complete wash. It's all damaged and it's got to be replaced. So if they could use those, that would be amazing. Just for that example,
Yeah. Well, and when it comes to that and the lessening of the, stuff, it's also like, we can actually have this in a home. And if it puts the fire out, within 10 seconds of a fire, it's smothered, right? And so there's not all that damage. And if you have a sprinkler, then the insurance company still has to do some kind of payout and remediate. because now there's water damage in the house. Your furniture may get damaged. Your clothing may get damaged. That's still a claim. So anybody in their right mind, again, that's in the insurance industry would be like,
it's an oxymoron.
Mine
and insurance company.
Right. How many people have paid 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of insurance and never had a claim until this fire, and then they can't even get everything that's owed to them, right? You've paid millions of dollars already to them. So if that's the case, or $1 million or whatever it's been, but if that's the case, and you're still got to do that because you want to protect your home and your asset, but your insurance company doesn't have to raise rates like crazy because your house is fully home hardened, goes well above the standard, and has this sonic technology that then if there is a fire, it'll go out quickly and you don't have to worry about water damage. Like, that's almost a no-brainer. Yeah. And if they don't have brains enough to figure out that, yeah, this is a win-win, there's something really wrong in the insurance industry, for real.
I wouldn't put it past them to find a reason not to use it, but hopefully they're practical enough and pragmatic enough to recognize the benefits and just make it happen. I hope so. That'd be cool. But you know what? You brought up a couple topics about water in Altadena, and Council Member Moulton actually had a couple things on water. So there's an update one on Los Flores. This was from about 18 hours ago. I'm going to add this to the stage. I don't know if you wanted to talk about this or if this is something that you know about for Los Flores.
Yeah, I know they had a meeting, or they were going to. So let's look at what you put. I didn't attend it, but a new update has been issued outlining the financial and infrastructure impacts of the fire and what comes next for water service in the community. The company has joined litigation. Of course they have, like everybody else. A potential consolidation with Lincoln is being explored. Study led by the California Water. Now let me back up right there. So anyone who does not know, there are 3 independent water companies in Altadena: Lincoln Avenue, Los Flores Water, and Rubio Canyon Water Company. The 3 of them being independent, privately held, people that live in those companies' districts are considered shareholders. They all own the company, right? A piece of it. Out of all 3, the first one to be up and operational, which sustained the least damage, was Lincoln Avenue. The city of Pasadena offered a while ago, last year, when people were still up in the meadows or different places, offered to push water up to Altadena for those that needed it in areas, and it was denied, which doesn't make sense to me, other than I heard grumblings that no, the city is trying to merge with Altadena, and they could say, oh, well, see, we already have the water infrastructure, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. Doesn't matter. If they were willing to accept the water, call it a day. But I wasn't behind the scenes. I don't know what the political stuff is, because, there's always some back deal door or whatever. Always. So Rubio is back up and operational. They sustained damage, but not as much. And Los Flores was dang near wiped out. Like, they sustained the majority of the damage in the fire. Because it is shareholder owned and it's not a big public utility, they're really struggling. And they've told people, I think it'll cost $3,300 per house or whatever to reconnect and have service and all this. People are complaining, but this is not a public utility. You as a homeowner own part of it, right? So, and I get it. People are like, we already have to worry about rebuild, all these other costs, but that is a cost to rebuild. Or if you were building a brand new house and you bought a lot and it was cleared, this would be part of that cost. Yep. So I was told last week that Lincoln Avenue, people that have Lincoln that are on the west side, whose homes are almost ready to go back into, looks like I'm frozen. Okay.
You're fine on my end.
Are almost finished and they're ready to go home. They're now been put on a list by Lincoln, and Lincoln has said it could take up to 12 weeks to get them water to their house. And it's like, why didn't you tell them that when they were just starting the foundation? because now literally some people at the end of this month or by the 1st will be ready, have their certificates of occupancy, and now they got to wait 12 more
Something to move in.
Right, which means wherever they're living, they got to pay 12 more weeks of rent, potentially. Like, that is insane to me. I know of 2 people that I go to church with that told me that, and I was like, y'all need to contact Captain Barger's office, because that seems unacceptable to me.
Mhm.
Oh, and one of them said, yeah, we just got on the list and we're number 96. I was like, what? That's for Lincoln. Then I was told, well, I know that for a fact, but then someone told me, hey, your parents are in which of the water companies? I said, Los Flores. I said, although they're right over by Rubio Canyon, but they're Los Flores.
Mhm.
And because I remember going when we were little with my mama down on Sacramento to pay the bill, you know, you'd walk in the office, whatever.
Mhm.
So that has always stuck with me, Los Flores. And they said, okay, because apparently Los Flores is saying the same thing, or they may not come back. They may merge with Lincoln. So I called Los Flores last week, probably 6 or 7 times. Not once did I get an answer, and I left 3 messages, and still to date have not gotten a call back, because I wanted to find out, are you on the list? And if so, can we be put on the list now? Because they'll have the permit soon, all this, right? Well, no, I was told they're going to split it. Half of them will go with Rubio, half of them will go with Lincoln, depending on where you live. So because my parents are so close to Rubio, I called Rubio, and the girl was like, we've had a couple of people say that, and no, that's not the case. We have not been approached by them. And I gave the address. That's not our area, our service area. Lincoln has not, Los Flores has not spoken to us about it, yada, yada, yada. So you can pull that back up, because I just thought it was interesting that she has that, ISIS has that on this about Los Flores and Lincoln, but I don't know, because I was told the same about Los Flores and Rubio was like, they've never had a conversation with us. And if that's a rumor out there, like, they need to approach us.
Right.
If you've gotten a letter or something in writing, could you give that to us? And I said, no, I was just verbally given this information. She said, okay, thank you for letting us know. So to address shortfalls, the board at Los Flores has approved that $3,000 fire recovery assessment per shareholder. You can either pay $2,600 upfront and $50 a month for 60 months. And they begin once water service is activated. So if your service is off, payments will start when the service resumes. So what they're doing is saying every house, when you rebuild, there is going to be a fire recovery assessment of $3,000 per homeowner, per shareholder, which is your parcel. And people are upset about it. But again, you're a shareholder, as you know, having your lot. Yes, it's a lot, but the $2,600 is upfront, $50 a month to pay the other $400 off, or you could just pay the $3,000 altogether, right? So water service in some areas is currently being supported by Lincoln Avenue. That is over on the west side. But again, they have a list for those trying to rebuild that are at 100 plus. And I know somebody that is on it at number 96, and the other one, she said, oh, I didn't know that. Let me contact. No, she did hear it could take up to 12 weeks, but she didn't know she had to go get on the list. So I was like, you need to call them tomorrow morning. Right.
So if they weren't on the list, it's going to take even longer, because they're further down the list now.
That was a week ago Sunday. I said, you need to call them in the morning and get on the list, because over here, Jarvis and Elaine just told me they're number 96 on the list, and their house they're almost at landscaping. Probably by the end of this week or next week, they'll be at landscaping. And then there is a $4 million state-funded project that is in progress to rebuild one of the reservoirs. The estimated timeline, though, is 2 to 2.5 years to complete it. And they're hoping to get more funding through the SBA, through FEMA, or CalOES. I do know that is the case with Los Flores Water. And then Rubio Water is also proposing a rate increase. Everybody is, because again, they're private. And if you live in that area, your address is your shareholder. So Rubio has officially approved a water rate increase effective May 1st. driven largely by the long-term impacts of the fire and rising regional water costs, which none of these water companies have a say over. The regional Metropolitan Water District, MWD, is who governs all the water and the water rates for everyone. And I got a letter the other day that we got another increase. I'm like, okay, it's crazy that they continually lay people off and use AI to eliminate jobs or whatever, or that's the excuse. But our rates for everything are going through the roof. Data centers create larger energy bills. Oh, yes. Water rates, even though we're not in drought right now because we've had so much water, the rates are still increasing, right? It's just like, what are people getting paid, and do they really need to be paid that? These CEOs of these companies that are making 11 billion, in a bunch a year, but you have other people that are struggling to pay for their basic necessities, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, come right back here. The rate increase will fund repairs to pipelines, reservoirs, and pressure systems, water quality testing and monitoring system upgrades to support future fire response and emergency readiness, ongoing maintenance, and modernization of aging infrastructure. Now, I don't have an issue with that, but y'all should have been thinking about modernizations and all that well before the fire. And infrastructure updates, because that might have helped being able to put out the fire.
Absolutely. Okay. Especially that pressure one.
The pressure, right. That nobody had pressure. So,
I don't know if you want to go over this next part.
Yeah, monthly standby charges. These are fixed fees. Are 5/8 and 3/4 inch is $35 a month. This is based on your meter size. 1 inch is $54. 1.5 inches will be $66. And then the 2 inch is $75 a month. Over 2 inches will be $84. So that's a base fee based on the size of your meter. Most people are getting that 1.5 inch meter because they used to have the one. Because in order for pressure and these sprinklers, it needs to be a 1.5 inch meter. And then water usage rate measured by 100 cubic feet, which is 748 gallons, $4.15 up to 1,200 cubic feet. $5.25 between 1,200 and 2,600 cubic feet, and $585 over 2,600 cubic feet. So there was a lady there from the MWD the other night at the town council meeting. And what she said was also there is money that has been funded for the yards. So, and this is anybody, whether you've been affected by the fires or not. If you want to pull up your grass and plants that you have to water and get drought resistant and get either turf or other natural landscaping, there is money available. And there's $1,000 available for landscape design right now. So usually it's available, then they run out, then they get more grants, and then they open it back up. But it's open right now. And she wanted Altadenians to know because people are rebuilding, and that may be a grant available so they don't have to take that out of their budget, insurance proceeds, or whatever. So just know that there are things available. And then Rubio water rate increase, $10 a month per shareholders temporary, applies to both active. So even if your house burned down, even if you I know a lot of people have been getting bills and posting them on the Altadena Facebook page. They're ticked off that they're getting stuff, whether it's from Lincoln, Rubio, or Los Flores, because they're like, I don't live there. The house is gone. How am I using water?
Right.
And what I tell people is call them and get a full explanation of what it's for, right? Because if there's obviously no water service, and they're charging you for water, they're going to have to eliminate that. But other things like shareholder fees, fire recovery fees, stuff like that, they have to have this money to reopen and to do what they have to do. So it's unfortunate, and I know that they don't like it, but it's a necessity right now. What's important is if the outside funding for FEMA litigation or state funds is received, and credits will be issued back to customers. Maybe, I won't say will, maybe. So if they do get the money and it covers it, they may issue it back, or they may just say, no, We haven't had increases for a while. We're going to go in and rock with what we got and keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have a multi-unit property, like 2 houses on a lot or ADU or duplexes or whatever, it's an additional $20 per month per extra unit.
Extra unit.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
if you got a house and 2 ADUs, that's going to cost you $50 a month. So think about that as the rebuild happens. At the same time, external costs have increased. That's the MWD, which I was talking about, those rates for the municipal water district, and they don't have any control over that. That's the Foothill one. The Metropolitan Water District has standby charges that have increased by 26%. And then it says requests to waive rebuilding permit fees were denied by LA County Public Works. So fees that you've been waived for your home permits, that's a different story than the Rubio, Los Flores, and Lincoln saying, hey, can we have a fee to waive or a fee waiver to rebuild the infrastructure for these homes or whatever? And the county has said no. So they've got to recoup it somewhere because they got to do the work and pay the people to do the work.
It makes sense.
So the increase is also tied to broader system pressures, which are state mandates requiring 20% water conservation, increasing compliance costs. Yeah. Groundwater supply. I'm going to just leave that one there. I mean, that makes no sense. State mandates requiring 20% water conservation. And so that increases compliance costs. Ain't nobody driving around all hours of the day or night to see if you using the water or not.
Right.
And are they checking your bills each month to see if it's gone up higher or not? No. So that's somebody that they've put in a job saying compliance. Okay, enough said. Groundwater supply from the Monkhill Basin has been reduced by 24%. More water must now be purchased from external suppliers, which is significantly more expensive. Excuse me, more expensive.
It still holds true given all the water we just had from these rains. Because I just drove by, that reservoir right across from PHS off of
Yeah, Little New
it's
York.
full. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, not even New York. The one right by PHS in Washington and Sierra Madre. Like you go down Sierra Madre.
Yeah.
Just to your right, that sucker is full. Because I looked over, I was like, dang, can I see the water from the car? Because usually it's just a pit and you got to, but that sucker's full. And I know if I went on New York Drive, that one is definitely full.
Well, and if you go up to 39, up Azusa to the top, there's like 3 of them. Because in order to get to East Fork and to the shooting range that I go to, I pass 3 of them. Baby, when I tell you full.
So I wonder if that comment, though, about more water must now be purchased from external suppliers and the Monkhill Basin has been reduced. I wonder if they factor that in.
Let me tell you why. Because what they're going to try to do. Oh, and I was in Silver Lake not long ago, and that huge basin in Silver Lake by the dog park and stuff, full to the brim full. But anywho, what they'll do is say, oh, we're using this for that. We're using this for that. They want to always reduce so that we have reserves because we are a drought state, right? And so they want to try to hold it in reserves and trickle it out as they need to so that next year, if we don't have an El Nino, if we have a La Nina, right, and we don't get water, we have something so we're not in severe drought again. So they will reduce it, the groundwater supply, by that 24% or whatever, or purchase from others, so that what we do get, they can hold and they can try to reserve, they can purify it, clean it, all that kind of stuff. So, and then when we have heat, like we're having now or later, water evaporates.
It evaporates, yeah.
Right. So we got a whole lot. Doesn't mean it's going to stay long because if we have a lot of heat, people want to water more. People want to, but I go out like I did my garden early this morning, right? Because I know the heat is going to try to absorb that. But that's also why I went and got a bunch of wood chips and put them down because I need that water to stay so I don't have to
retain the moisture.
Exactly. So if you do the things that will help with retaining the moisture, then it helps us, right? Ongoing supply chain issues and infrastructure costs continue to rise. We know that's the case because we see foolishness every day from this administration. So yes, there are supply chain issues and costs increasing.
Right. So before I go to Lincoln, do you want to? We're at an hour. Do you want to continue, or do you want to maybe pick this up tomorrow? Huh?
We can continue. We don't have that much longer, right?
Right. No.
Okay. We can do Lincoln and then announcements, and we could call it.
Cool.
And then the Lincoln Avenue, because they're all have to do with the same thing. So I'd rather knock them out. Yeah. Then the Lincoln Avenue Water Company update. Their board meeting is tomorrow, the 20th. They would like people to pre-register. It's the 20th at 10 a.m. And this meeting may impact residents and properties receiving water. So the ones who can participate is shareholders, tenants or occupants receiving water service, and elected officials representing the service area. So shareholders means if you fall within the Lincoln Avenue Water Company's service area, that's you. It's not fully open to the public, and they require you to register.
All right,
and so that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you feel that you get water from them and you need to be there to hear what they're having to say, go ahead. If you want to attend, like I said, you have to pre-register. Yeah, you have to pre-register. If you want, let's see, to participate, probably public comment or something. Attendees are being asked to submit a written request at least 24 hours before the meeting. So it is already 11, so you're at 23 hours. So don't email them or write anything to them saying you want to participate. But you can still, I believe, register for it.
Yeah, I got to find the actual link for that.
Okay, let me look on their website. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see. Post record. So, this is a good thing too. Lincoln Avenue Water Company. It says, and they're the little greenish building on Harriet off of Lincoln, just west of Lincoln. We used to go by that one too sometimes. But it says there was an alert March 13th, lifting of do not drink, do not boil order for all areas. I guess there was a notice, but it's been lifted. That was last year. I'm sorry. Those were from last year. Notices, post-fire recovery update. So I'm looking general information. Let's see. Shareholder information. Let's see what's there. If there is anything about, no, application to purchase water stock. I was looking for, meetings. Here's a link that says meetings. So lawc.org/meetings. And it says Board of Directors meeting. The regular board meeting is 10 a.m. tomorrow. There is an agenda and a schedule. But to attend, you must submit a written request at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Only pre-registered attendees will be admitted. So now it's too late. Sorry, we're talking about it now, but we're at 23 hours. So that they don't have a link to register. You're supposed to submit saying that you would like to attend. But there is an agenda and what they're going to talk about. They will have additions to the agenda, preliminary matters, and then they will have public comments for the public that is there, their shareholders, to address the board directly on items of public interest. They'll have the president's report, an action calendar, consent calendar, or reports, attorney's report, things like that. So again, if you're registered, go. I know ISIS probably is registered and is going to go. But yeah, so that's that.
Sorry, I had a little adjustment. My camera went out.
No problem.
And it came back. All right, cool. Yeah, covered all that stuff on the water companies. That's crazy. So I'm sure there'll be additional information that comes up after their meeting tomorrow.
I'm sure ISIS will put it here again. And one thing that I really like her and Anton did was they set up a link tree to issue to all their constituents, which I thought was brilliant because now their people can directly interact with them who are, in their area. And a couple of the other ones were saying, yeah, I think I need to do that for my census tract too. Because, if you are not able to get to the meetings or whatever, how do you reach your person? And a lot of times you can email them, but if they're away or whatever, it might be just better if they have a link tree or some other way. And they said they'll send out surveys to their constituents and they can reply via the link tree link and all of that. So I thought that was great that they set that up.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what?
I thought you were going to say indubitably.
Not this time.
Right.
That is a word I like, though.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and jump into the announcements real quick. We're at an hour, 10 minutes. It'll be another few. And let's go ahead and do this. Where is that? There we go. All right, now I'm going to go back to this particular one, the CalHFA Mortgage Fund, just because, as a reminder, they did make an adjustment. It used to only be 3 months of mortgage payments. Now they're providing 12 months of mortgage payments, and it's now up to a maximum amount of $100,000. These fees don't have to be, or these monies do not have to be repaid, and it's free to apply. And this grant is paid, if you get it, directly to your servicer, your mortgage servicer, not to you. Now, the eligibility requirements are that your primary residence must have been destroyed or considered uninhabitable due to a qualified disaster like the Eden Fire, like the Palisades Fire, like Malibu Fire, or any other qualified disaster from the 1st of January of 23 through the 8th of January of 25. You also must have owned and occupied your home, and it could have up to 4 units on the property. And the last is you got to meet the combined income limits of $281,400. Now, that's for LA County. If you had a qualified disaster outside of LA County during this time period, there are different income limits, so you have to look those up. Now, if you do apply, please be prepared to share your mortgage statement, bank statements, utility bills, homeowners insurance, or FEMA claim, in addition to your proof of income. And to actually apply, you want to go to calhfamortgagefund.org. And then you can get help over the phone Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. by calling 800-501-0019. In addition, if you need help in person, you can get that in-person help at one of 2 locations. The first of which is in LA at the One Stop Rebuild Center at 1828 Sawtell Boulevard. And the other one is at the Altadena Community Center, which is 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. Now, this in-person help is available Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And just to remind you guys, we are in a heat wave. There is a cooling center at Jackie Robinson Park, 1020 North Fair Oaks Avenue. It said until yesterday. I'm pretty sure it's available today because the heat wave has continued from 8 a.m. Now they're available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. In addition, there is the Bob Lucas Memorial Library and Loma Alta Park. So Toni had brought this up yesterday, and I hadn't seen anything specifically talking about Loma Alta Park, but it made sense that most of those parks would be there. So they're open for Bob Lucas. They're open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, Friday and Saturday 10 to 5, and then Sunday 1 to 5. And then for the Loma Alta Park Library, they're open 10 to 6 Monday through Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday 10 to 5. They are not open on Sunday. But definitely keep this in mind. Stay hydrated, all that good stuff. Be careful. It's hot. Heat is the number one weather-related cause of death. So just be careful out there. Today from 6 to 8 p.m. is the Healing the Mother Womb Wound, 3 generations carried forward through connectivity or captivity. This is provided by Dina Heals. It's at the Paseo Outdoor Mall, 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 151. So let's join them for a women's circle, a women's healing circle with Tammy Cook. It's integrative somatic therapist. This is a space to gather, share, connect, and hold one another in community. To register, please go to tinyurl.com/D's and Dina, H's and Heels - women's circle. All right. And then we do have the tax relief info session happening today from noon to 1:30 p.m. at the Altadena Community Center, which is 730 East Altadena Drive. For registration, you can go to altadena.youcanbook.me, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. Some of the stuff covered is federal and state tax disaster rules, tax-free disaster relief, and much more. So definitely check this out if you have time. You still got a little time to register for this as well. I'm not sure what the space is like there, so the sooner the better, but definitely check this out if you want some tax information. And then there is, here we go. Also today from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Community Canvas Project has an event where you can come paint a canvas and be part of this beautiful community project. It's going to be at the Eden Fire Collaboratory at 540 West Woodbury Road in Altadena. No reservations are required, and they provide all samples, or supplies rather. If you have questions, you can call 626-604-6248. And this is a different flyer, but it is for the free farmers market that happens on Fridays, put on by Together We Thrive. This is from 5 to 6:30 p.m. or until supplies last. It's at 3541 Brandon Street in Pasadena. So definitely check this out. It's absolutely free. Apparently they have some really good stuff and run out rather quickly. So get there as soon as possible if you're interested for tomorrow. And there's an event called A Writing Group for Survivors, basically in Dena, Saved by a Story. It's happening tomorrow, the 20th, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at 695 East Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. So come together in community to write about the cherished places we have been, what we have lost and found, and how we chart a way forward. Participants of all ages are welcome. And to RSVP, you want to go to the event, I'll create a QR code for this because it's a little long, but it's eventbrite.com/e/saved-by-a-story-altadena- I'm not going to read all that. It's long. So
it looks like that's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm going to create a QR code for this so you guys can check this out live. You know what? Hold on. Let me do it. No, I can't do it now. But I'll have it for tomorrow.
Can you put the link in the chat? No, you know what? Wait, hold on. Keep it there for a second.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'll create the QR code while you're
they put the one on the screen like we usually do?
Exactly. So hold on. Let me just grab that with a screenshot, and then I'll do it while you're... Okay. I'll do our QR code while you're doing that.
Okay, I'm just trying to see. I think it was from the Legacy Land Project that I got this, but they don't have a link. Sometimes there's information you can add to there. But yes, this will be a great event. I know Marcus, family, but longtime supporter of Altadena Talks, has actually started writing and has recognized some benefits of writing in relation to recovery. And this seems like it'll be another great opportunity for folks to take advantage of that method to kind of deal with the recovery efforts from the Eden Fire. And Toni is getting that flyer up there. Saved by a Story. Maybe it's that one. Let's do that. So you can go to savedbyastory.com. A story.com. Let's see if it has a link in there. Programs, events. Yes. All right. Well, let's see.
Wait, you just got the link with all this typing I'm doing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
So I'm on, let's see, Wildfire Survivor Community -writing.
Actually, you know what? I did
Group, GROUP -tickets.
You're going to be mad. I did find it.
That's okay. 19. Is that 806?
Hold on.
554 85
Yeah, 198. Well, I can't tell.
F equals. That's
Yeah,
all right. I got it now.
19806-777-55485.
All right. I just put it. Okay, it's there.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So if you're interested, ladies and gentlemen, Toni has put the QR code in the upper left-hand portion of the screen. Please scan that QR code. We'll have it up for tomorrow as well. And we'll, make sure we do the announcements well before 1 o'clock. So if you haven't registered yet, you can definitely do so still tomorrow. Thank you for doing that, Toni.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna move forward. Yeah, I'm gonna move forward to the next one. Unfortunately, we got to take that one down because that's not a QR code for this one. And this is Assembly Member John Harabedian and the Assembly Banking and Finance Committee invite community members and fire survivors to attend the outcomes review hearings for AB 238. It's happening at PCC tomorrow at 10 a.m. So definitely scan the QR code if you want to register and become part of that and share your story. It's going to be at Westerbrook Recital Hall. And PCC, for those that don't have the address, it's 1570 East Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. The Mortgage Forbearance Act is what it's called, and it's going to be featuring survivor presentations, expert testimony, and the option for public comment. So definitely participate in this and get your, your story heard. It'll be a good event. And then on Saturday, Spring Immersion Flow is happening with Yancey Cummins at Dena Hills. It's a special spring immersion equinox offering with tea, conversation on the energy of the season, an immersion movement to help enter spring with intention and a deeper relationship with its rhythm. It's from 9 a.m. to 10:30 at Dena Hills. It's at 300 East Colorado Boulevard, Suite 151. And to register for this event, you go to bit.ly/D as in Dena, H as in heels, -yoga.
So I know we were talking earlier about everything, and my mom called me a minute ago. She said, "Oh, I thought you guys were done." I was like, "No, he just started the announcements." And she just verified, after I told her about Los Flores Water Company, that she's done the same thing. She's called and no answer. So the likelihood of them collapsing into Lincoln or being absorbed by them or merging with them is, I would say, high. But yeah, people can't reach them. I told her go by there next time she's out there, although I don't know if they're in the office.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. If you get them on the phone, run up on them.
Right. Hello.
That's right. On Saturday, from 3 to 5 p.m. is the Black Family Wellness Expo. It's at Robinson Park. This is at 1081 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Pasadena. If you want to register, you want to send an email to B as in boy, F as in Frank, wellness 91109@gmail.com. Definitely attend this event for free health screenings, mental, physical health resources, workshops and resources, teens and housing support, and much more, including snacks. Last year was well attended, and I'm pretty sure this one will be as well. Grounding After Loss. It's a gathering for those who lost homes in LA fires. This is an event happening on the 25th at 6 p.m. It's held via Zoom. This is not therapy. It's a spiritual guided experience, and it may include intuitive insight, channeled messages offered to the group with the support of Restoration Focus Spiritual Collective. It is... where's the registration? Okay. RSVP at noelledean@gmail.com. That's NOELLED as in David, EANE@gmail.com. Couple more items and then we'll be done. So the community pancake breakfast happening at Victory Bible Church on March 28th. So it's next Saturday from 10 to 12. Victory Bible Church is at 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. So it's a free breakfast for Eaton Fire survivors. In addition, there'll be information about rebuilding with a nonprofit builder and registration is free by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the page. So definitely go ahead and scan that. And we'll continue to share this particular flyer throughout the next week as well. And then I got the right flyer from Jackie yesterday. So
Did she send you the email?
She sent it to me via email. So we had the right one, but for some reason it was cut off.
Yeah, and I love it because when I got the email, I said, should I send this to Jamal? But I'm glad she sent it to you too, because it's really important that people know they need to register this time also.
Yes.
Before it was just walk in, but that was one of the things I picked up from the email. Like these young people need to register this year.
Absolutely.
And it's only one weekend. Last year was a whole month, like 4 weekends, but it's 28th and 29th.
Yep.
I'll be in town that weekend. Otherwise, I'd be there volunteering.
Mm-hmm. So as Toni had indicated, this event, the 5th annual Jazzy Jam Glam, is happening the 28th and 29th at the Paseo from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This is a prom dress and suit giveaway for local high school seniors. They get suits and dresses and everything they need for the special night. To register, you can scan the QR code. There is a form that you will ultimately fill out. Scanning the QR code is the easiest. I'm not going to read the URL, but if you have questions, you can get additional information by either going to jazzyjamfoремpowerment.org or sending an email to info@jazzyjamfoремpowerment.org. Thank you, Jackie, for sending this information to us both. And then lastly, again, the Black Excellence in Art exhibit is still being shown at the Collaboratory at 540 West Woodbury Road. This is through next Saturday, in which case there will be a closing ceremony from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., and there will be words from the artists. So until then, please go and support each of the local artists by checking out this art exhibit at the Collaboratory. And with that, I bring Toni back on. And do this. Bring this other banner back.
Hey.
That's right. See if there's any additional folks that have made comments or came on board. Oh, a few other people joined. Let's see. Comments. We got this person. We have Rostaz or Toes, whichever that is. Thank you again. And then we have the other Marcus Hightower, who is Craig Ray Mark. Right? Yeah, we thank everybody for joining us for this latest edition. As we have indicated, episode 307, Toni Talks. Toni's, Jamal, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say. I'm done.
No, we're done. Thank you all for joining. And we've been, we were supposed to have a guest today, my mama, but she couldn't join us. She said it's a lot going on, and really it's probably too soon.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
And and I just wanted to bring her on and be like, how are you guys doing? This whole process, just to see. I gotta ask my mama how they're doing on their own. But
dancing, because I love how that
definitely started dancing again. And but yeah, thanks, Mom. Anyway, but have a great. I was gonna say weekend. This is Friday Junior, so not quite. We'll be here again tomorrow. But have a great time today. Stay cool. It's supposed to be 98 or 93 or something. Yeah, and I think 100 tomorrow.
Yep.
Hit them cooling centers if you need to, and be well.
That's right. See y'all tomorrow, everybody. Peace.